Hey everyone, my name is Demi, and I go to an all-boys school. Some of you might be surprised, and some might even be envious, but let me just say that it is quite difficult to study in a school like this one when you're the only girl. My story is about how I got to the school and why I'm here. I grew up in a family of doctors. My mother is a pediatrician and my father is a surgeon. Every day after work, they speak in some medical terms, talk about patients or drugs, and I just blink, not understanding anything. It always seemed to me that my parents lived in a world of their own. They loved medicine so much that even after work, they found time to talk about it. Everyone around me assumed that since my parents are doctors, I would follow their footsteps. And admit it, you've probably thought of your future in terms of careers in your family, but I want to become a fashion designer, and it was my cherished dream. One time, I told my mom about it, and she and my dad just laughed at it and said that being a doctor was the best career and that saving people's lives was amazing. Making clothes isn't serious, they said. I stayed silent, waiting for a suitable opportunity to sit down and discuss my future, until one day, my dad brought home the news that canceled all my plans. One evening, my dad handed me an envelope. I looked at him in bewilderment and opened it. It read, "Dear Demi, we are glad to announce that you will receive 25% discount. Welcome." A private med school? Dad began to say that this was a new school which was founded by one of his friends, and that while there were not many students, it is even better because each student will be given special attention. But Dad, I didn't say that I wanted to study medicine. I don't want to associate my life with medicine at all. And it all began from there. Apparently, I was ungrateful and dishonored the good name of the family, and that no design, journalism, or business will ever be on par with medicine. Then my mom came in and continued the lecture. I realized that my thoughts, alas, did not matter. My parents had decided everything for me. Unfortunately, I couldn't defend my opinion and nodded in agreement. I just wanted everyone to calm down and stop lecturing me. The next day, I packed my backpack, got ready, and my father took me to the new school. All the way there, we were silent. I felt like I was being taken to some kind of prison. We stopped at a beautiful new building, and my father enthusiastically declared that this was the very school. He happily stood and looked at the school, but I didn't care. I silently walked by and went inside. The dean met us, showed us all the classrooms, and told us briefly about the school. Dad did his best to cheer me up. "It's okay. Soon you will meet new girlfriends and you will immediately get used to the new place." The dean quickly added, "Unfortunately, at the moment we have no girls at the school. Your daughter is the first." "But how is she the first one?" Dad frowned. The dean explained that since the school was new, there were few students and only boys went there at the moment. Dad firmly said that he didn't know this and is now doubting if he wanted his only daughter to go to a school full of boys. The dean turned out to be a rather tough woman. She claimed that if we refused the offer, then the advance will not be returned, and it was a very big amount of money. I looked at my dad and realized that he was at crossroads. It was an all-boys school, but at the same time, he couldn't waste the money that he and Mom had been saving up for several years. I decided to cheer up Dad a little, saying that what difference does it make who I study with, because the main thing is knowledge. Besides, when the new semester starts, other girls will definitely apply. So we decided that I will stay this semester, and then we'll see. Monday was the start of the new week and the first day at the new school. I went there feeling a bit anxious. What classmates will I have? What kind of boys? I hoped they wouldn't be stuck up. As soon as I entered the classroom and appeared in front of the boys, silence fell in the classroom. Someone whistled, not embarrassed by the teacher's presence. Others began to whisper, and some even started giving me looks. The teacher told them briefly about me. I sat down in an empty seat. The whole class, I saw them stare at me, and it was incredibly infuriating. What can you learn when your classmates are literally scanning every detail about you? During the break, several guys came up to me to get to know each other. They turned out to be very pleasant and well-mannered. Then others came up to me and were definitely being a bit too pushy. One guy began to flirt. The other wanted to have my number, saying that the whole point of my coming to a boys' school was to find myself a boyfriend. I couldn't stand this behavior and just hit my new classmates on the head. He grabbed his face and looked at me so maliciously, saying that I would regret what I've done. Nobody came up to me anymore, and I only talked with those well-mannered guys. In short, I felt rather uncomfortable in the new place. Being the only girl at the school is not cool. So a week had passed since my arrival. I gradually got used to classes and diligently studied the terminology. One time, a new classmate came up to me and whispered that the guy I offended wanted to do a dirty trick on me and that I should be extremely careful. Oh, what a fragile little fool he was. The trick didn't take too long to happen. That same evening, as I was leaving school walking to the exit, someone called me, and when I turned back, some kind of mixture was splashed into my face. Seeing my shoes and clothes and my whole body covered in green, I realized that it was a staining substance. I rubbed my eyes and I saw the offender, or rather, the offenders. The one who hit on me and his idiot friends. One of them was filming the whole thing, while others just laughed loudly. I was furious. I started screaming. Then suddenly I shouted, "I am Hulk!" and ran towards the guys. I wiped my hands on their face, leaving green spots everywhere. They ran away from me, but I was the best at running. So catching up with the offenders and taking revenge on them using their methods, I went home smiling with my green teeth. Needless to say, our class the next day was unforgettable. Half the class had green stains. We were called up to the principal, where I told everything as it was. The guys promised that they would no longer offend me, and that they did not know how crazy girls get when they're angry. I left the principal's office feeling victorious, and since then, no one even dared to offend me. Although they still called me Hulk behind my back. I don't get offended. And yes, that video never made it online or to other people's phones. Apparently, my bullies were embarrassed to show how a girl attacked them. I haven't given up on my dreams of fashion design yet, but studying at a new school seems interesting and fun. The main thing is not to get offended, and what happens next, only time can tell. If you liked the video, then give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel.
Hello everyone! Today I'd like to tell you about the changes that have occurred in my family. It made me popular, many people from school envy me, and I understand that all this is thanks to my dad. You will probably be surprised as much as I was because I had no idea that our life would turn out this way, but it happens. My name is Christina. Several years ago, my mom left our family. Dad and I did not even really understand what was going on. Dad said that they got married because of great love, that my mom honestly agreed to my father's proposal to marry him. But over the years, she got even more and more moody with him. She felt she was lacking freedom, but Dad was not strict. He let her go out to places with friends while he looked after me. And still, she did not like anything. So, as a result, when I was born, it was so much harder. After giving birth, my mom looked very unhappy, and it worried my dad, but she would not be herself anymore, and then it became even worse. When I got older, my dad thought that everything would work out. But still, there were all sorts of fights. I often saw how sad my mom was. There were days when she would not leave the room or talk with any of us. And when my dad left for work, we were alone, and she often talked on the phone with someone and said that they were her friends. Some of them came to our house. I did not like them at all because they often said things that upset my mother. When they would spend time at our house, I was not even allowed to leave my bedroom, even when I was hungry. Sometimes it lasted for a whole day. They always left before Dad's arrival, and there was no food left after them. The first thing my father did was hug me and then ask me what's going on. I said that I was hungry. He would get very angry, argue with my mother, asking why there was no food and why I was hungry. My mom would immediately start screaming loudly, then she would go to the bathroom. My dad would finally order me something to eat, and then we ate it with him. This would go on for several years. I was still a child back then, but then everything changed. I remember how Dad left for work once again. I had been attending school back then. When I came back, my mom's friends were at our house again. I did not even know their names. They came and talked about something, and then my mom disappeared in her bedroom and began to collect her things. Her friends were waiting for her in the hallway. I got so scared. I began to ask where she was going, but my mom was silent. I began to cry. I was very scared, and my mom came up to me and gave me the phone and told me to call my father as soon as she left, saying that no one was home. I thought that she would be back soon, that she left with friends or for work things. My mom left without even saying goodbye. She did not look me in the eyes. She just closed the door and I did not see her ever again. I waited for her for about an hour, but then I called my father. I told my dad that mom was gone and he rushed home from work as quickly as he could. Dad was asking me how it all happened and I told him everything. Then he took the phone and began to call Mom, but she did not answer. Then Dad sat down on the floor and cried bitterly. I began to try and calm him down, but he hugged me tightly and said that my mom had left us. These words were like a stab in the back. For a long time afterwards, I could not believe that she did this to us. I waited for her every day. I continued to go to school, and now Dad left work earlier. I spent my days sitting in my bedroom all day waiting for her. Finally, when I realized that she left our family, I began to believe it all happened because of me. And then I did not want to see or talk to anyone. I started skipping school. I just stayed at home. I did not want to talk to my dad. I did not want to do anything at all. Dad begged me not to get sad over this, but I could not control it. Almost a year passed like that. My dad began to have difficulties at work, and then he was fired from his job because he now left earlier because of me. It became even harder for us to live by. We did not know how to continue at all. All attempts to find another job were unsuccessful because it was required that Dad was at work all day, and he could not do that because of me. One evening, when we ran out of money altogether, I cried bitterly. Dad saw it and tried to calm me down, and then he cried himself. I thought that this was it, that this was the end. My father knew that I adore sewing outfits for my dolls, so he decided to cheer me up, and we sat down to make them. The whole night passed unnoticed, and we had a lot of fun. Then Dad put me to bed, and when I woke up, there was a beautiful dress hanging on the chair. It was for me. I was so surprised as to where it came from because we had no money to buy anything. Then my dad came in and said that he did it all for me. You don't know, but I used to use the sewing machine. This was my hobby. Then I gave this up, but now I want to remember everything again, he said. Dad took out a sewing machine, some fabrics from the closet, and then began to sew. Together we came up with models of skirts, dresses, and t-shirts for me. I liked the outfits so much that I wanted to show them off to everyone, so I started going to school in them. On the first day, people surrounded me and began to ask me where I got such a cool dress, and I said that my father did it. Everyone began to praise him and compliment me. When I came home from school, a different outfit was waiting for me, and so I changed them almost every day. Words of admiration from different people lifted up my spirits. I began to study better and went to school every day. And then the idea to create our personal Instagram account came to me. Dad took me as a model and I modeled the outfits. And then an incredible thing happened. We got so many followers. We became very popular. Dad continued to make clothing, and then one fine day our neighbors came to us. They found out about our situation and brought us food, and then they started ordering clothing for their children from my dad. It brought us good money, even more than Dad earned before. We were finally happy, and Dad had orders every day. And then people who learned about us online also began to come to us. After about half a year, we made a special workshop for my father at our house. And then when my school break began, I asked my dad to teach me how to use the sewing machine, and we began to work together. It was amazing. Of course, it was very difficult, especially at first, but I knew it was worth it. I sewed the first outfit myself, and everything turned out the way I wanted. It was a light blue short summer dress with thin straps. My dad was so proud of me, and then he sewed himself a t-shirt from the same fabric, and we began to wear that paired outfit. The pictures of us actually inspired so many people, and Dad told in the comments that he does not regret that everything turned out this way, because, having lost his job, he now found the time for his favorite hobby, which his beloved daughter also likes now. Moreover, it provided a decent income. Dad always tells everyone that there is nothing more important than the relationship between him and I. Of course, I still think of my mom sometimes. I feel sad that she's not here. But on the other hand, my dad was always able to replace her and give me a lot more. Now I can say with great confidence that everything that is not done is for the better, and we don't need anything more. So what do you guys say? What would you do if you were in my place? Do you think it's worth finding my mom after all? And tell us how you spend time with your parents.